I remember lying on the beach as a teenager, my skin slathered in baby oil, desperately trying to get that perfect tan. My friends and I would compete to see who could get the darkest. We'd even use those reflective tanning boards to intensify the sun's rays on our faces. Sunscreen. That was just something my mom tried to make me wear, which I'd secretly wipe off the moment I was out of her sight. Fast forward 30 years, and here I am, Dr. Sarah Mitchell, a dermatologist who spends her days treating the consequences of those exact behaviors. The irony isn't lost on me. I grew up without sunscreen, and now I've dedicated my life to helping others avoid the mistakes I made. I didn't truly understand the impact of those carefree, sunscreen-free days until my early 30s, when I noticed the first signs of premature aging. Dark spots appeared across my cheekbones. Fine lines formed around my eyes much earlier than they should have. But the real wake-up call came during my dermatology residency, when I diagnosed my first melanoma on a patient only 5 years older than me. That's when it hit me. This could be me. This could be any of us who grew up thinking sun protection was optional. My own skin tells a story that many of you might recognize. The left side of my face, my driver's side, has noticeably more damage than my right. Years of casual drives with the sun streaming through the window left their mark, even though I never felt like I was sunbathing during those moments. The truth is, I was lucky. I caught on early enough to prevent the worst outcomes. But many of my patients weren't so fortunate. I've lost count of how many times I've had to deliver a skin cancer diagnosis to someone who, just like me, grew up thinking sun damage was something that happened to other people. Let's talk about what's really happening when your skin is exposed to the sun without protection. Many people think the only concern is sunburn, that painful, red aftermath of a day outdoors. But sunburn is just the immediate, visible reaction. It's actually the tip of a very dangerous iceberg. UV radiation penetrates deep into your skin, damaging the DNA in your skin cells. Your body tries to repair this damage, but over time, with repeated exposure, some of that damage becomes permanent. This leads to mutations that can eventually result in skin cancer. But even before cancer becomes a concern, sun exposure accelerates aging in ways most people don't realize. That leathery texture, those deep wrinkles, the persistent dark spots, these aren't inevitable signs of getting older. They're signs of photoaging, damage caused specifically by the sun. I see patients in their 40s who look 60 because of unprotected sun exposure. And I see 70-year-olds with remarkably youthful skin because they've been diligent about sun protection. The difference is striking and consistent. What's particularly insidious about sun damage is that it's cumulative and delayed. The sunburn from yesterday will fade, but the DNA damage remains. And it builds up over decades, silently, until one day you look in the mirror and barely recognize yourself. Or worse, find yourself sitting in a dermatologist's office receiving a skin cancer diagnosis. There are so many myths about sunscreen that keep people from using it properly. Let me address the most common ones I hear in my practice. Myth number 1, I don't need sunscreen on cloudy days. This couldn't be further from the truth. Up to 80% of UV rays penetrate cloud cover. Some of my patients with the worst sunburns got them on overcast days when they thought they were safe. Myth number 2, I don't burn so I don't need sunscreen. Listen, if you have skin, you need sunscreen. Period. While it's true that darker skin tones have more natural melanin protection, they're still susceptible to DNA damage, photoaging, and yes, Skin cancer. The protection from melanin is equivalent to about SPF 13, which falls far short of the recommended SPF 30 minimum. Myth number 3, sunscreen causes cancer. This one frustrates me to no end because it scares people away from one of our best tools for cancer prevention. Modern sunscreens have been extensively studied and are proven safe. The risk of not using sunscreen far outweighs any theoretical concerns about sunscreen ingredients. Myth number 4, a base tan protects me. No, no, no. A tan is your body's response to injury. It's a sign that damage has already occurred. There is no such thing as a healthy tan unless it comes from a bottle. And finally, myth number 5, I only need sunscreen at the beach or pool. This is perhaps the most dangerous myth because it leaves people vulnerable during everyday activities. Driving, walking the dog, sitting by a window at work, these everyday moments of sun exposure add up significantly over time. So what does proper sun protection actually look like? Let's break it down into actionable steps. First, understand the two types of UV radiation, UVA and UVB. UVB rays cause sunburn and play a key role in developing skin cancer. UVA rays penetrate deeper into the skin and cause premature aging. Both types contribute to skin cancer risk. That's why you need a broad-spectrum sunscreen that protects against both. When it comes to SPF, the number matters, but only to a point. SPF 30 blocks about 97% of UVB rays. SPF 50 blocks about 98%. The difference is small, but for people with very fair skin or a history of skin cancer, that extra 1% protection can be significant. However, no sunscreen blocks 100% of UV rays, which is why additional protective measures are important. Application technique is crucial. Most people use about half the amount of sunscreen they should. For your face and neck alone, you need about a nickel-sized amount. For your entire body, it's about a shot glass full. And reapplication is non-negotiable, every 2 hours when outdoors or after swimming or sweating. But even the best sunscreen isn't enough on its own. A comprehensive approach includes seeking shade, especially during peak hours between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Wearing sun-protective clothing, including wide-brimmed hats and UV-blocking sunglasses. And yes, getting your vitamin D through supplements or diet rather than unprotected sun exposure. I've had patients tell me this seems excessive or inconvenient. But I've also had patients who, after receiving a skin cancer diagnosis, would give anything to go back in time and be more diligent about sun protection. Prevention is always easier than treatment. Sun protection isn't one size fits all. Different skin types and conditions require tailored approaches. For those with fair skin, particularly types I and II on the Fitzpatrick scale, your natural protection is minimal. You burn easily and rarely tan. Your risk for skin cancer is higher, so you need to be especially vigilant. Higher SPF sunscreens, sun protective clothing, and minimizing direct exposure are crucial. For those with darker skin tones, while you have more natural protection, you're not immune to sun damage. In fact, skin cancers in darker-skinned individuals are often diagnosed at later stages because both patients and sometimes even doctors don't look for them. Pay particular attention to areas like the palms, soles, and under nails, where skin cancers can appear differently than they do in lighter skin. If you have sensitive skin or conditions like rosacea or lupus, the sun can trigger flare-ups. Mineral sunscreens containing zinc oxide or titanium dioxide tend to be less irritating than chemical formulations. And if you have melasma, those stubborn dark patches, sun exposure can make them significantly worse, even with brief exposure. For acne-prone individuals, look for non-comedogenic sunscreens that won't clog pores. And contrary to popular belief, the sun doesn't actually improve acne. It might seem that way temporarily because of the tanning effect, but UV exposure can stimulate oil production and worsen acne in the long run. Children need special consideration too. Their skin is more vulnerable to sun damage, and sunburns during childhood significantly increase the risk of skin cancer later in life. For babies under 6 months, physical protection is best, shade, clothing, and hats, as their skin is too sensitive for sunscreen. For older children, mineral sunscreens are often better tolerated. What if you're like me and grew up without proper sun protection? Is it too late? Absolutely not. While we can't completely reverse past damage, we can prevent further harm and improve the skin's appearance and health. First, it's essential to monitor your skin for any changes. The ABCDE rule for melanoma detection is something everyone should know. A for asymmetry, B for border irregularity, C for color variation, D for diameter larger than a pencil eraser, E for evolving or changing over time. Any spot that meets these criteria should be evaluated by a dermatologist immediately. For addressing visible signs of sun damage, there are effective options. Topical retinoids can help with fine lines and texture. Antioxidant serums, particularly those containing vitamin C, can help brighten and protect. Chemical exfoliants can improve dullness and uneven tone. For more significant damage, in-office procedures like chemical peels, laser treatments, or photodynamic therapy can make substantial improvements. I've seen remarkable transformations in patients who committed to both professional treatments and consistent home care. But here's the crucial point. None of these treatments will be effective long-term if you continue to expose your skin to UV radiation without protection. It's like trying to mop up a flooded bathroom without turning off the running faucet first. Protection has to be the foundation. We need to talk about something that doesn't get enough attention: the emotional impact of sun damage and skin. Cancer. As a dermatologist, I've witnessed firsthand how devastating these diagnoses can be. I remember a patient, let's call her Jennifer, who came to me in her early 40s with an unusual spot on her nose. The biopsy confirmed basal cell carcinoma, and she needed Mohs surgery, a procedure that removes skin cancer layer by layer. Jennifer was devastated, not just by the diagnosis, but by the prospect of a visible scar on her face. During her follow-up appointment after surgery, she broke down crying. "I feel so stupid," she told me. "I did this to myself. All those years of tanning, and now I'll have this reminder on my face forever." This is a conversation I have far too often. The regret, the self-blame, the anxiety about appearance or recurrence, these are real psychological burdens that come with skin cancer and visible sun damage. But there's another emotional aspect I want to address: the resistance to changing sun habits, because of how deeply ingrained they are in our identity and culture. Many of us grew up associating a tan with health, vitality, and beauty. Changing that mindset isn't just about facts, it's about reshaping our emotional relationship with the sun and our skin. I've had patients tell me they feel pale and sickly when they're not tan. Others worry about being judged for wearing protective clothing or seeking shade at outdoor gatherings. These social and emotional barriers are real, and acknowledging them is part of the journey toward better protection. The shift toward embracing your natural skin tone, and prioritizing health over cultural beauty standards isn't always easy. But I've seen patients make this transition, and many report feeling liberated from the constant pressure to maintain a tan. There's something powerful about making choices based on long-term health rather than temporary appearance. Let's get practical. How do you make sun protection a seamless part of your daily routine rather than an afterthought or burden? First, make sunscreen application as automatic as brushing your teeth. Place your sunscreen next to your toothbrush or other essential morning items. Create that visual cue and physical convenience. Choose products you genuinely enjoy using. If you hate the feel or smell of your sunscreen, you'll find excuses not to use it. Sunscreen formulations have come so far. There are elegant, lightweight options for every skin type and preference. Finding the right one might take some trial and error, but it's worth the effort. For reapplication throughout the day, especially over makeup, consider powder sunscreens or setting sprays with SPF. Keep travel-sized sunscreens in your car, purse, desk drawer, and anywhere else you might need them. Invest in UPF clothing for outdoor activities. These specially designed garments provide consistent protection without the need for reapplication. Wide-brimmed hats, sun sleeves for driving, and UV-blocking sunglasses should become staples in your wardrobe. Plan outdoor activities strategically when possible. Early morning or late afternoon outings reduce exposure during peak UV hours. Use apps that track UV index to make informed decisions about when extra protection is needed. For parents, modeling good sun protection habits is crucial. Children learn by watching, and if they see you prioritizing sun safety, they're more likely to adopt those habits themselves. Make it fun, colorful hats, special sunscreen just for them, UV-detecting stickers that change color when it's time to reapply. And perhaps most importantly, be patient with yourself. Changing lifelong habits doesn't happen overnight. If you forget sunscreen one day, don't throw in the towel. Just get back on track the next day. Consistency over time is what matters most. The field of sun protection is constantly evolving, with exciting innovations on the horizon that may make protection even more effective and convenient. Researchers are developing sunscreens with DNA repair enzymes that can actually help reverse some sun damage while preventing new damage. Oral photoprotective supplements are showing promise as an additional layer of protection, though they'll never replace topical sunscreen. Wearable UV sensors can now sync with your smartphone to tell you exactly when you need to reapply sunscreen or seek shade. Smart clothing with built-in UV protection that adapts to conditions is moving from concept to reality. We're also seeing a welcome shift in the beauty industry, with more brands embracing and celebrating all skin tones without promoting tanning. Social media influencers advocating for sun protection rather than the perfect tan are helping reshape cultural norms. But perhaps the most important development isn't technological. It's the growing awareness that sun protection is healthcare, not just cosmetic care. Insurance companies are beginning to cover skin cancer screenings more comprehensively, and some workplaces now include sun protection in their health and safety protocols. As a dermatologist, these changes give me hope. They suggest a future where sun protection is normalized, accessible, and integrated into our healthcare system and daily lives in ways that actually reduce skin cancer rates. I began this conversation by sharing my personal journey, how I grew up without sunscreen and now spend my days treating the consequences of sun damage. My hope is that by sharing both my professional knowledge and personal experience, I've helped you understand not just the what of sun protection, but the why. Because ultimately, this This isn't about fear or perfection. It's about empowerment. It's about having the information you need to make choices that protect your health for decades to come. The skin you're in right now is the only skin you'll ever have. It deserves your care and protection. And it's never too late to start. Whether you're 15 or 85, the best day to begin proper sun protection is today. If there's one thing I want you to remember from our time together, it's this. Sun protection isn't about avoiding outdoor life or living in fear of the sun. It's about enjoying everything life has to offer while taking simple, effective steps to keep your largest organ healthy. So start where you are. Choose one aspect of sun protection to improve this week. Maybe it's finding a sunscreen you'll actually want to wear every day. Maybe it's scheduling that skin check you've been putting off. Or maybe it's simply being more mindful of seeking shade during peak hours. Small, consistent actions add up to significant protection over time. Your future self will thank you, not just for how your skin looks, but for the health you've preserved. If you found this information helpful, please subscribe to Skin Health Senior for more evidence-based guidance on protecting and nurturing your skin at every age. And remember, your skin story is still being written. Make sun protection part of that story starting today.